We have a really interesting guest today. Her name is Rhonda Liebig, and Rhonda is a number one bestseller of the FITT Solution, Four Steps to a Sexy, Successful You. She's been a regular on Fox News, The Orgina Rose Show, and a podcast radio show. She's a transformational force who will guide you to your insightful solutions for desirable results by sharing her signature template, the top 10 sabotages. Rhonda developed this template by listening to her clients' emotional pain and struggles throughout her 15 years in the health industry. She's found that this is one of the most powerful steps to do and can be one of the biggest roadblocks that typically prevent us from getting started. Well, first of all, I want to welcome you, Rhonda, to the show.
Thank you. I am very excited to spend time with you.
Well, you are what people call a holistic health coach. So tell people what that means and tell us whether or not you always knew that's what you were going to do.
Holistic health coach is how I approach it is like a lifestyle for thinking about, what do you want your future lifestyle to be? And connected with that is your health. So helping people envision something bigger than what they thought they could get to. And connecting that with foods, scrumptious, wholesome foods, to really thinking clean. And that's where the sabotages came in of a template to really help approach that. And then also working on the physical movement too. What's the best workout for you? So bringing all those three together for a wonderful, healthy lifestyle. And I always loved this area, and I didn't know how I was going to implement this into my life. And so I actually used to work in corporate and accounting as a CPA, and I thought I really loved it until I had Jacob and Kirsten, and I got in this mode where I felt like I wasn't doing anything right. I was so exhausted all the time, trying to be a mommy to these two kids, feeling like I wasn't a great wife, feeling actually that my job was starting to falter too. So all three areas that were really important to me, totally lost myself. So I actually transitioned into the health industry because I started having thyroid stuff. My hair was falling out. I felt really, really bad. And so the strategies that we're going to talk about today was really the pivotal point for me and mindset, because I think that's the ultimate to get us there.
Well, interesting, because I met Rhonda, and she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. So the fact that you would think that she had any of these situations, you'd probably say, I can't believe it. But I guess it's true. So tell us what your strategies were for building what you call the top 10 sabotage list.
It's really hard to be a coach, and it's hard to bring people into a state of really change. We know so many people that, I guess you could say, if they're living in that negative space, because I think every day-to-day stuff, it's painful. Life has its ebbs and flows. So as a coach, what have I been hearing people say? And then how do I get them out of that stage of, the negativity, I guess is the best way to put it. And so I started listening to the top sabotages that I was hearing that people were stopping and not moving forward in. And the stuff that I was failing in as a coach originally. And so I took a step back and I started thinking about, how can I get them to that next level? How can I get them to the lifestyle that I really, truly, I can see they're a special person. I can see there's all these wonderful abundance of things that can happen for them, but how do I get them there? So listening, starting to kind of strategize with those, kind of playing with different clients and really figuring out what was working for them. And then that template came together, and that is my most powerful tool when it comes to helping people, make changes for their food and really stepping into taking care of themselves and making bigger changes for themselves so they can, envision that. So a very powerful stage for me as a coach.
So can you walk us through one of the main sabotages that you find people struggle with the most?
Yeah, there's 10, so everyone has a lot to it. But I don't know about you, Dr. Gail, I think that the biggest one that I see quite a few people say is just that they don't have time. Like, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. And why I really believe that this is something that we don't notice that's a sabotage because we hear so many people say it because we're always competing on, my life is busier than yours and I have no time to do this or that. But the biggest thing is I think that there's a scared factor there. When we say I don't have time, usually it's because they're afraid to step into something new, maybe open themselves up. And so the biggest thing is taking a step back and starting to listen to that internal voice of, hey, I'm stopping myself from doing something new and experiencing new things. So looking at that and the internal voice and realizing that the fear, the anxiety, and what's stopping you from getting to that next level.
Well, it's interesting because I do know that people say that. They say, oh, I don't have time for this or time for that. However, if they really looked at what they did and asked themselves, why am I doing it? They would probably find that they have more time than they thought. I'm sure that people are pressed today. There's no question. I mean, some people work in a job where they have to drive an hour or almost 2 hours to get there because of traffic. And so really, if that takes 2 hours out of your day, and then if you're at a job for 8 hours, that's 10 hours. And then if you have kids and you're responsible for them and you have to prepare dinner and you have to do homework and you have to do all these things. I mean, it's tough. But again, there are a lot of people Go ahead.
I find that, okay, so you're in that space, like even hearing it, you kind of have that feeling of anxiety building up. And so, like, how do you get somebody in that space of saying, okay, I do have time? So, like, even when you're driving, there's things you can be doing, like just thinking about gratitude and space to be able to, once you get out of your car, that you feel positive about the space that you're in so that you can give yourself 5 minutes maybe to stretch. Give yourself 5 minutes and write down the top 5 things that you're grateful for, or that you want to do a yoga class, finding that space when you start looking at, the extra time maybe you're spending on Facebook, maybe social media, things like that really, once you take a step back and look at your schedule, the first thing I do is really look at organization of the day. And you're right, if you have kids, just like I do, and you have, the cooking, which I love to do the cooking, but then you have all this time of just trying to do all these things. But you know what? Once you start giving to yourself just a little bit of 5 minutes here and there, you start actually finding 30 minutes for doing some space for yourself, sometimes even an hour, because it increases your energy and you get things done more efficiently. And you realize that just that energy in itself, that your brain starts thinking quicker, you have higher productive days, everything starts coming together. And so that's the way you start kind of tippy-toeing in with people that feel that way, because it's anxiety that's really given us that space that I have all this stuff to do and I have no time.
Well,
it's a very interesting process.
I mean, when I'm driving, I'm either listening to I listen to classical music in the car. I like that very much, and it's very relaxing. But if I'm listening to a CD, it's usually something on either motivation or marketing or, as many people have said, it's a university in your car. So there's a lot of things that you learn while you're driving, and you don't have to get upset about all the traffic. And of course, it depends on where you live. I happen to be in cities with traffic patterns that are pretty heavy. However, I would also say that, there's probably, everybody has 30 minutes. Everybody has 30 minutes in their day where they can make space for something. And if you can't make space for yourself in the 30 minutes, then something is wrong with your lifestyle. Something is wrong with what you're doing, and exactly what you said, organizing your life and your day, because there is a way to get around that. So you wrote something called the FITT, F-I-T-T Solution. What's in that book? And do you have a chapter that would support our listeners in living in gratitude? You talked about gratitude quite a bit.
Yeah, so FIT to me is like a physical thing. It's also the way your mindset, and it's the way that you approach your day. And so I use the double T, so it's an FITT, which is focus, integrate, transform, and thrive. And I approach that in the way of anything with building goals. And this is what the book is about, is if you had me for 6 months and we went through a coaching program, how would I be able to have, these 3 pillars that are really strong, really approaching your day where you're going to find a space to work out at least a few times out of the week or more, where you're going to find the space to bring yourself into positive instead of feeling like when you're driving that you get upset because, you're blaming everybody else instead of, maybe getting upset the wrong stuff and really focusing in on how you can change your lifestyle. Also with the working out, knowing what type of workout works for you. Maybe you're doing yoga and you have a heart condition where you really need to focus on the heart and the movement of the body. Well, maybe you need to change the workout that you're doing. So this book guides you as if I'm your coach threaded throughout the book. And so there's templates, there's interviews. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bernie Siegel, but he's a man that's really inspired me. So I interviewed him because I thought I need to talk to this guy and have this be part of the book, because I feel like he's like at the top of his level of working with people that are dealing with cancer and how he gets them into that space of being positive. So that goes along with the FITT Solution, is no matter where you are in your life, that there's always a little bit of space to find some gratitude. And the more that you can step into that, the more you see things in a different way. And there's so many ways that our brain works where if you can start rebuilding the brain to start thinking in a more positive way, more positive things happen for you. And this book goes through all these important things about how your brain comes together and how there really is space to be a different person than you are right now if you're not feeling good about the space you're in. And I talk a lot about gratitude. So at the end of the book, I talked about my gratitude and what the support that I've gotten from the change of, being a CPA in corporate life to now being an entrepreneur, and the ups and downs with the entrepreneur of just getting in there and, and working with people and dealing with, as a coach. And I think everybody has this in any business they do, the stress, the challenges that you have, and how different that lifestyle was. So I bring, a lot to, my husband. I talk a lot about that. And I also bring it into, what's your gratitude? And the approaches I've done, I want to give this template to you, and you can start working through some of the strategies that I've learned. And so the FITT Solution that's what it is, being your ultimate self, your fit self, your emotional fit self, your physical fit self, and connecting to your kitchen and really learning how to love your kitchen, not feeling like you're overwhelmed in there. So, sharpening your knives, making sure that you're really implementing the best food you can at this point, because everybody's at different levels. And that's what the book is very endearing to. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. And I know that we live this lifestyle that you either are doing it right or you're not. But when I come in as a coach and say, if we work on something together or you're learning something new and you have like one bad day or you have 5 bad days out of 20 really good days, did you really fall off the wagon? Or let's talk about those good days, those days that you really stepped in and you made some changes for yourself. You really just kind of got off a little bit, but don't beat yourself up. This is the space that says, okay, I'm on a new stage now, and I need to kind of reset myself, and I think I need to add some new tools, and you just start playing with things. And so it's like a circle. FIT is where you go from the beginning, you find a goal that you believe, that you love so much, and you want to do it. And that's always, you get really excited about that stuff. So I think that's an easy step. You just go, oh my gosh, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to go for a walk every day because I feel really good. And so then you start integrating. And so the integration comes in with, you're putting it in your schedule, you're figuring out how it's going to work for you, and then you start seeing the transformation. And the transformation is that physically you feel good, or maybe you don't notice it physically, but then you start thinking, okay, I don't have to physically look at myself in a way that I'm going to break myself down, but I'm going to say, hey, those changes are going to happen at some point. But how am I feeling inside? And so we start thinking about, do I feel happier? Do I feel like my circulation's better? Is my back feeling better? So that's the thrive part. That's the transformation part. And the thrive part is let's celebrate. And I think we forget that a lot. So let's thrive. Let's enjoy what is working right now. Out of the